to Wish I Had Known, the show where hindsight meets insight. Host Jody Lamb has worn many hats in the world of finance, from navigating the intricacies of financial planning to unraveling the mysteries of insurance claims and diving deep into the realm of structured settlements. Each episode explores the topics that make you say, if only I had known this sooner. Join the conversation as we uncover the insights that can make all the difference. This is Wish I Had Known, because knowledge is power and hindsight is 2020.
Welcome back to another episode of Wish I Had Known. Today, the Biz Communication Guy joins us to share his expertise and insight. Speaking to success-inspired leaders, the Biz Communication Guy helps clients learn winning words and ways to boost their business. Welcome to the show, Bill Lampton.
Thank you so much, Jody. It's great to be with you today.
Well, it's great to see you again, too. It's been a while since we last met face to face. You had the opportunity to join me, I joined you on your episode of the Biz Communication Guy and had a great conversation, and delighted to have you on Wish I Had Known so that you can share your unique expertise, insight, and information to today's audience member.
Well, I'm always delighted to get an opportunity to talk about communication skills, because that's what my life has and profession have revolved around for a long time.
Well, why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself, Bill?
Okay, I think looking at the theme, I wish I had known. I was captivated by that, and I thought there are probably 10,000 things I wished that I had known earlier. And one of the things I've said, Jody, is that I wish I were just a portion as smart now as I thought I was when I was 21 years old. But time teaches us that, yes, we do make mistakes. And if I were to simplify into one sentence what I wish I had known earlier in my life and career, it would be that powerful communication is two-way. It's not one way. It's not just you sending your messages and anticipating, thinking that they are going to be automatically understood and automatically agreed with. So what I wish I had known was what, even late in my management days, I finally found out. Stephen Covey's chapter about listening, where he said, seek first to understand and then to be understood. And I'm thinking, my gosh, I've been doing that backwards all this time. Because in my college life, as a young freshman, I remember taking a required public speaking course. And that entranced me, because I saw if a student had really studied a topic, gotten into it, had good supporting materials, and made a powerful presentation, in 10 minutes, you could change minds and even possibly change behavior. But the result of that was that, again, I was looking at just the sending part. And I was a history major, and I looked at that time, I studied World War II. I looked at Franklin Roosevelt. I looked at Churchill. On the other side, I looked at Hitler. And all of these were carrying their cause because they could speak. And so much of the time, I made the mistake of taking the presentation skills that I learned both then and in my graduate studies at Ohio University. I took those skills and I just sent messages and thought, okay, now you've got it. So what's the problem?
Okay, you mentioned Ohio University. I'm going to put a real plug in there. That's where my alma mater is for my undergraduate, where I learned how to make some magic with money. You talked about listening to understand and to be curious. I think that builds nicely into a recent post that you had on LinkedIn. Just at the end of April, you were talking about making some magic, some real magic, putting magic into communication, bringing harmony, cooperation, and positive results. How do you coach individuals in that magical opportunity?
Well, for one thing, I shared with them that quote that you just mentioned that I had posted on LinkedIn from Dr. Wayne Dyer, where he makes the point very clearly. If you want real magic in your communication, it's quite simple. He said, just give up the need to be right. In other words, as he put it, every conversation, every interaction does not need to be conflict. In fact, if you decide at the outset of a conversation, of a meeting, of a discussion, if you decide there doesn't have to be anybody who's right and there doesn't have to be anybody who's wrong, that sets a tone for consensus, open-mindedness, receptivity, and it diminishes greatly the potential for conflict. So with my clients, I let them know again what I learned from Stephen Covey, and very quickly I can talk about his 5 levels of listening. First is ignoring. Now, Jody, you and I would never do that, of course.
I got 15-year-old twins who will happily demonstrate how to do that.
Right. And then next would be pretending. Okay, pretending is a little bit more up the ladder. We're pretending to listen, but while I'm talking to you, Jody, I'm thinking, what was it I was supposed to pick up on the way from the grocery store today? And my mind is elsewhere. And then the third step is ignoring, pretending. And then third is selective. And in selective listening, I'm probably, when you and I are talking, I'm listening to what I agree with, but I'm blotting out the rest. And then the next stage is even higher up the ladder, and that's attentive listening. Okay, now we're at a point where I'm listening to your words. I'm trying to catch what you're saying and understand it. But the highest level that Covey talks about is empathic listening. And empathic listening is where you not only get the words, you not only get the meaning, but you get the feeling. What is this person really thinking? And that, of course, is what you find out through empathic listening and not just assuming what they're thinking. As a manager, I was often combative. I was defending my territory. And if instead I had listened to what my colleagues, what their reasons were, what their purpose was, how much smoother the teamwork would have been.
When you relinquish the need to be right, conversations are just easier because no one's going to win that argument because everyone has their own point of view. To be able to have a conversation that facilitates communication, intrigue, curiosity, to be able to understand. Do you encourage people to do mirroring, to repeat back what they hear? What kind of other coaching advice would you have for today's audience member who is trying to be more active and present in active listening?
Yes, mirroring or reflective listening, which I think was started by Carl Rogers many years ago. Reflective listening would be if you tell me something and to let you know that I got the message accurately, or I think I did, I repeat back to you, Jody, I believe here's the point you're trying to get across. And I state it in words that reflect what I'm thinking. And then you have the opportunity to say, well, Bill, that's not quite what I meant. Let me elaborate on that. Because we don't take that step, we often fall far short of really understanding what the other person is thinking and saying.
Well, when that happens, communication starts to fall apart. And whether it be professional or personal, making sure that we understand what the other person is saying so that our own interpretations don't get in the way of that miscommunication is key. Any other final takeaways, suggestions for today's Wish I Had Known episode today, Bill?
I think that is the major overriding one, that communication at its best is not a sending process alone, it is a sharing process. And when you share and you ask, do you understand what I said? Would you repeat it so I can check it out? Management would be so much better. People would get the instructions clearly. Relationships would be so much better. Friendships would be strengthened. Even conversations with strangers that you're meeting for the first time. That old saying, we've got two ears and one mouth, and if we keep that ratio in mind, we're going to have the biz communication that I talk about.
Fantastic. Whether we're talking about making magic with money of structured settlements with the guaranteed tax-free future payments, or we're talking about the magic in communication, bringing harmony, cooperation, and positive results, it's all going to be key to communication, active listening, being open to understanding and relinquishing the need to be right. Bill, this has been a wonderful conversation. If our audience member wants to learn more about you and what you do and how you help people, how do they find you?
Thanks for asking. My website, my tag is the Biz Communication Guy, quite logically, my website is bizcommunicationguy.com. I welcome also phone conversations because I like to hear about your communication challenges and problems and find ways that we can explore to assist you with those. My phone is 678-316-4300. I'm on all the social media, and as Jody knows, I'm very active on LinkedIn, listed there as Bill Lampton. We'll welcome your invitation to connect on LinkedIn.
Well, thank you so much for your participation today. Your content on LinkedIn is always engaging. Conversations are always great to listen to. Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode of Wish I Had Known.
Thank you, and I wish I had known.
Thank you, Bill. If you have any additional questions for Bill, feel free to reach out to him or #AskJody. We'd love to hear your questions, suggestions on future content, or if you have a story to share, feel free to reach out. We'd love to talk. Until we meet again, have a wonderful day. Thank you.
To today's episode, please like, share, and subscribe so you can hear all of Jody's chats, so you don't have to say, "Wish I had known."